The email notification pinged my phone as I sipped my lukewarm coffee. A moment of dread washed over me as I saw the subject line. Exciting opportunity. I clicked it open, my heart racing. The job offer was a game changer, an offer to relocate to a city I had only visited briefly and knew next to nothing about. It promised a substantial salary increase, an intriguing role with a renowned company, and an entirely new start. I stared at the screen, feeling the weight of this unexpected development. Laura found me hunched over the laptop, her face a mixture of curiosity and concern. "What's up?" she asked, setting down her coffee mug and leaning against the kitchen counter. I glanced up, searching for the right words. "I've got an offer from a company in a different city. They want me to start in a month." Laura's eyes widened. "A new city? That's a big deal. Have you thought about what that means for us?" "I've been thinking," I admitted, running a hand through my hair. "The salary is great, and the role seems perfect for where I want my career to go. But of course it would mean uprooting everything we've built here." She took a seat next to me, her fingers tapping lightly on the table. "We need to weigh the pros and cons. What about the kids and our house? It's a lot to consider." I nodded, feeling the weight of the decision. "That's why I think it's important to visit the city first. Get a feel for it before we make any decisions." Laura's expression softened as she took my hand. "Okay, let's plan a visit. I'll talk to Emily and Jack about it." The next day, Laura broke the news to our children, Emily and Jack, over dinner. The reaction was mixed. Emily, ever the pragmatist, was already asking about schools and extracurricular activities. Jack, more emotional, looked stricken. "But what about my friends?" he asked, his voice quivering. "We'll make sure to find a good school and great friends there too," Laura reassured him, though her own voice lacked certainty. The visit to the new city came quickly. I arrived feeling a strange blend of excitement and anxiety. The moment I stepped out of the rental car, I was hit by the unfamiliar sounds and smells of the new environment. I met with the prospective employer, who greeted me with a firm handshake and an enthusiastic smile. His office was sleek and modern, a stark contrast to the more traditional setup I was used to. As we toured the facilities, I couldn't help but feel a thrill at the thought of potentially working in such an innovative space. I spent the next few days exploring the city, absorbing its culture and rhythm. I wandered through neighborhoods, envisioning our family settling into a new home. One evening, I attended a local community event, a street fair bustling with vendors and live music. I struck up a conversation with a few locals, who were friendly and welcoming. After the event, I called Laura to share my impressions. "The city's got a great vibe. There's a lot going on, and the people seem friendly. The schools look promising too. I think it could be a good fit for us." Laura's voice was cautious but hopeful. "That's good to hear, but I'm still worried about how this will affect us all." "I know," I replied, "but maybe this is a chance for all of us to grow. We just need to make sure we're making the right decision together." Returning home, I presented my findings to Laura. We sat down with a stack of brochures and notes. "The city has a lot to offer," I said, laying out the pros. "But I know this move will be a huge adjustment." Laura sighed, her eyes scanning the lists. "The pros are compelling, but I can't ignore the cons. The kids are settled here, and moving would mean starting over." Emily and Jack were involved in the discussions, their input adding weight to our decision. Emily, pragmatic as always, laid out the potential benefits of the move, while Jack's apprehension about leaving his friends and familiar surroundings tugged at our hearts. After a long emotional discussion, Laura and I reached a decision. "Let's do it," I said, a mixture of determination and nervousness in my voice. "Let's accept the offer and start this new chapter." Laura squeezed my hand, a mixture of relief and anxiety in her eyes. "All right, we'll make this work. We always do." The first week in the new city was a whirlwind of activity and emotions. It felt like I was caught in a storm, excited yet disoriented, driven yet overwhelmed. The city was vibrant, but its energy left me feeling both exhilarated and anxious. I had to hit the ground running, balancing my new role at work with the demands of settling in and adjusting to our new life. My first day at the office was a blur of introductions and orientation sessions. My new colleagues seemed friendly enough, but there was a palpable undercurrent of scrutiny as they sized me up. "Welcome to the team, Mark," the project manager said with a firm handshake. "We've been eagerly awaiting your arrival. The work's been piling up, and we could use a fresh perspective." I nodded, trying to keep my nerves in check. "Thanks, Mark. I'm excited to dive in." The office was a far cry from the one I was used to, modern and open, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city skyline. I was both impressed and slightly intimidated. As I settled into my new desk, I couldn't help but feel like an outsider trying to blend in. My initial task was to familiarize myself with ongoing projects, and as I reviewed the files, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was standing on the edge of something big. Whether it would be a success or a colossal failure remained to be seen. Laura had her own set of challenges. Enrolling Emily and Jack in their new schools was no small feat. She spent hours navigating the bureaucracy, meeting with teachers, and ensuring that everything was in place for their first day. One evening, as she collapsed onto the couch beside me, she sighed heavily. "I think we're finally done with the school paperwork," she said, rubbing her temples. Emily seems cautiously optimistic, but Jack? I looked at her with concern. "What's wrong with Jack?" "He's having a hard time," Laura said, her voice breaking slightly. "He's worried about leaving his friends behind and starting fresh in a new place. I can see how much he's struggling." I put a comforting hand on her shoulder. "We knew this wouldn't be easy. Let's give him time. It's a big adjustment for all of us." Despite our best efforts to maintain a positive outlook, the adjustment period was tough. We were still finding our rhythm. I found myself working late into the evenings, trying to prove my worth and integrate into the team. Laura, on the other hand, was focused on making our new house feel like home, but the process seemed endless. The weekends provided a brief respite. We took to exploring the city, searching for the right balance between work, home, and leisure. One Saturday, we wandered through a local park, trying to embrace the new environment. It was a quaint place with old trees and a small pond. Charming but unfamiliar. I watched Emily and Jack play, trying to capture moments of joy amidst the chaos. "Hey, Dad," Emily called out as she skipped over to me. "I think I made a friend today at school. Her name's Sarah. She seems nice." "That's great news, Em," I said, smiling with relief. It's always easier when you start making connections. Jack, meanwhile, was more reserved. He kicked a pebble along the path, his brow furrowed in thought. "I miss my old friends. It's not the same here." Laura knelt beside him, her voice gentle. "I know, sweetie. But remember, every new place has its own adventures and friends waiting for you. You'll find your way." Gradually, the city began to feel less like a foreign land and more like a new home. I began to appreciate the nuances of my new job and the opportunities it presented. My team, though initially skeptical, started to warm up to me as I contributed ideas and solutions. My boss, Mr. Reynolds, took me aside one afternoon, his expression thoughtful. "Jason," he said, "I've been impressed with how quickly you've adapted. Your fresh perspective has been a real asset." "Thank you," I replied, feeling a surge of validation. "I'm just trying to make a positive impact." Laura, too, found her footing. She joined a local community group focused on supporting new families, and her involvement quickly led to new friendships and connections. It was heartening to see her enthusiasm and the way it began to ease her homesickness. One evening, as we sat down for dinner, Laura's eyes sparkled with excitement. "I've met some wonderful people in the community group. They've invited us to a neighborhood barbecue next weekend. I think it will be a great way for all of us to get to know the area better." "That sounds fantastic," I said, grateful for her optimism. "It'll be nice to have a chance to mingle and feel more connected." As the weeks passed, our new routines began to solidify. The city that once felt overwhelming was gradually becoming familiar. The challenges we faced were not insignificant, but each step forward, no matter how small, made a difference. The first few months in the new city felt like a roller coaster ride, with highs and lows that left me breathless. Just when we thought we were getting comfortable, life threw a series of curveballs that tested our resolve and our newfound stability. It all began with a health scare. One evening, I felt an unusual tightness in my chest. I dismissed it as stress. After all, the new job was demanding, and adjusting to our new life had been anything but easy. But when the discomfort intensified, Laura insisted I go to the emergency room. The doctors conducted a series of tests, and as I lay on the examination table, my mind raced with worst-case scenarios. Laura sat in the waiting room, her face pale with worry. When the doctor finally came to speak to her, I could see the weight of the news in her posture. She managed a weak smile when she came to my side. "It's just a severe anxiety attack," she said, trying to mask her relief. "But they're keeping you overnight for observation." I nodded, trying to stay calm despite the thudding of my heart. "Thanks for making me come. I guess I've been pushing myself too hard." The following weeks were a blur of medical appointments and adjusting to the new reality of managing stress. I found myself taking a step back from work, which was both a relief and a source of guilt. I had to learn to delegate and trust my team more, something that didn't come easily. As if that weren't enough, we faced an unexpected financial setback. A major repair on our new house turned into a nightmare. The contractor's estimate was double what we had budgeted. Laura and I sat at the kitchen table, the repair bill laid out between us, its total amount glaringly ominous. "This is a huge blow," Laura said, her voice strained. "We're already stretched thin with the move and settling in. What are we going to do?" I rubbed my temples, feeling the weight of the situation pressing down on me. "We'll have to reassess our budget, maybe cut back on some of our expenses. I'll talk to the contractor and see if there's any way to negotiate the bill." We had to make adjustments fast. Laura took on some freelance work to help bridge the gap, and Emily and Jack pitched in by taking on part-time jobs after school. It was a stark reminder of how quickly our situation could shift, and it forced us to reevaluate our priorities and our spending. Just when we thought we were starting to gain control, a mysterious neighbor moved in next door. Alex was an enigmatic figure, always seen but rarely engaged. His odd behavior and the whispered rumors about his past made him a topic of local intrigue. One afternoon, as I was working in the garden, Emily came over, her face flushed with excitement. "Dad, I've been talking to Alex," she said. "He's actually really nice. He helped me when I got locked out of the house." I raised an eyebrow, curious. "Really? What's his story?" Emily shrugged. "He didn't say much, just that he moved here for a fresh start. He seems lonely, though." Despite my initial reservations, Alex became a surprising source of support. One evening, as I wrestled with a stubborn piece of furniture that refused to fit into our new living room, Alex appeared with a toolbox in hand. "Need a hand?" he asked, his voice unexpectedly warm. "Sure," I replied, a bit taken aback. "I'm struggling with this sofa. It's a tight fit." As we worked together, Alex opened up a bit more. "I know moving to a new place can be rough," he said, adjusting the sofa's angle. "I've been through it myself. If you ever need help or just want to talk, I'm around." His unexpected kindness was a balm to our frayed nerves. Laura and I had a long talk about Alex's gesture later that night. "It's strange," she said. "He's exactly the kind of person I didn't expect to connect with, but he's been a real help." "I agree," I said. "It's a reminder that sometimes the people we least expect can offer the most support." Then came another challenge, a career change. Laura was approached with a job offer that seemed almost too good to be true. It was a significant step up from her current position, but it came with a demanding schedule that could impact family life. We sat down to discuss it, the weight of the decision palpable. "I don't know," Laura said, her eyes searching mine. "This could be a great opportunity, but I'm worried about how it'll affect us. I don't want to be away from the kids all the time." "I understand," I replied, "but if this job aligns with your goals and you're excited about it, we need to consider it seriously. We can figure out how to make it work." Laura took the leap, and I supported her through the transition. Her new role came with its own set of challenges, and we had to adjust our routines and expectations. Emily and Jack had to adapt as well, with Laura's increased hours impacting their schedules. Amidst these trials, A close call one weekend provided a sobering reminder of our fragility. While driving to a nearby town for a brief getaway, we narrowly avoided a collision with another vehicle that ran a red light. The incident left us shaken, but it also prompted a profound reflection on what mattered most. That evening, as we huddled together in the living room, the weight of the day hung heavily over us. "You know," I said, my voice unsteady, "we've been through a lot lately. It's easy to get caught up in the stress, but moments like today remind me how important it is to stick together." Laura nodded, her eyes misty. "We faced so much already. I'm grateful we have each other. No matter what happens, we can get through it." As we settled into our new lives, it felt like we were finally starting to find our groove. But just when things seemed to be smoothing out, an unexpected inheritance from a distant relative rocked our world. I remember the moment vividly. I was rummaging through old papers in the attic when Laura came up the stairs, clutching a letter with a look of disbelief on her face. "Jason, you need to see this," she said, her voice trembling slightly. I took the letter from her and began to read. It was a formal notification from a lawyer, informing us that we had inherited a substantial sum from a great uncle we had barely known. The amount was enough to significantly change our financial landscape. "This is incredible," I said, my mind racing, "but we didn't even know he was still alive." Laura shook her head, her eyes wide. "I don't know what to make of it. It's a lot of money, but what do we do with it?" The windfall presented an opportunity that was as exciting as it was daunting. We decided to use a portion of the inheritance to invest in a family business idea we had toyed with for years, a small cafe that could also serve as a community hub. It was a dream that had always lingered in the back of our minds, but until now, it had felt out of reach. The process of starting the business was both exhilarating and overwhelming. Laura and I spent countless hours drafting business plans, securing permits, and searching for the perfect location. One evening, as we reviewed potential sites, Laura looked at me with a mix of determination and fatigue. "We need to make sure this is the right place," she said. "It's a big commitment, and I want it to be perfect." "I agree," I replied, feeling the weight of the decision. "But we also need to trust our instincts. We've worked hard for this, and we've got to take some risks." Eventually, we found a charming location in a bustling part of town. The cafe was quaint, with large windows and a cozy interior that seemed perfect for our vision. We named it the Corner Haven, and after months of preparation, we opened our doors. The first few weeks were a whirlwind of activity, getting supplies, training staff, and navigating the endless list of tasks that came with running a business. The cafe quickly became a local favorite. It was a place where people gathered to chat, relax, and enjoy good food. We poured our hearts into every detail, from the menu to the decor, and it paid off. Business began to thrive, and seeing our vision come to life was immensely satisfying. While the Corner Haven was a success, it also led to new social dynamics. Laura, who had initially joined a community group to make new friends, began organizing local events and became more involved in our neighborhood. One day, she excitedly told me about a community event she was planning. "I'm organizing a charity fundraiser at the cafe next month," she said. "It's going to be a big event, and I think it's a great way to give back." "That's wonderful," I said, impressed by her initiative. "You're really making a difference around here." As Laura continued to thrive in her new role, Emily and Jack were also discovering their own paths. Emily, who had always had a knack for science, entered a regional competition and won first place. Her achievement was a bright spot for our family, showcasing her hard work and dedication. Jack, meanwhile, joined a local soccer team. He started off as one of the less experienced players, but his determination and practice paid off. One Saturday, after an intense game, he came running up to us, his face flushed with excitement. "We won the championship," he shouted, practically bouncing with joy. "I scored the winning goal." Laura and I exchanged proud glances, overwhelmed by the sense of accomplishment that our children were achieving their own milestones. It was a reminder that despite the challenges, we were building something meaningful together. Amidst our personal victories, we took some time to travel and explore new places. We planned a vacation to a beautiful coastal town, and the trip was a refreshing escape from our daily routines. As we walked along the beach, the salty breeze and the sound of crashing waves provided a sense of clarity and renewal. "This place is incredible," Laura said, gazing out at the horizon. "I feel like we needed this break more than we realized." "Agreed," I said, breathing in the sea air. "It's moments like these that remind me why we took the leap in the first place. We're doing something special." Our time away was both a respite and a catalyst for self-discovery. Laura decided to pursue further education to advance her career, and I found a renewed passion in my hobbies. Emily began exploring her musical talents, and Jack developed a strong interest in environmental activism, inspired by our travels and his own experiences. Back home, our involvement in community projects deepened. The Corner Haven became more than just a cafe. It was a hub for local events and a place where we could contribute to the community. I led a volunteer initiative at work, and Emily and Jack started a community garden at their school. The impact of our efforts was tangible, and it reinforced our sense of purpose. Reflecting on our journey, I realized how far we had come. From the uncertainties of our move to the challenges of establishing a new life, we had grown stronger and more connected. Our experiences had shaped us in profound ways, and each step forward had brought us closer together as a family. One evening, as I sat in our living room, reflecting on everything we had accomplished, Laura joined me, holding a stack of papers. Her face was lit with a mixture of pride and excitement. "Jason, you need to see this," she said, her voice brimming with anticipation. I looked up, intrigued. "What's going on?" "It's the final report for the scholarship fund we started," she explained, handing me the documents. "We've already helped so many students, and the impact is incredible." I scanned the report, my heart swelling with pride. The scholarship fund had been one of our most significant contributions, providing financial support to students in need and offering mentorship to those aspiring to higher education. Seeing the tangible results of our efforts was deeply fulfilling. "This is amazing, Laura," I said, my voice thick with emotion. "We're making a real difference." She smiled warmly. "It's been a lot of work, but seeing these students achieve their dreams makes it all worth it." Our family's commitment to giving back was not limited to the scholarship fund. Emily and Jack had embraced their roles as mentors, leading workshops and engaging with young people in the community. Their enthusiasm and dedication were inspiring, and it was clear they were finding their own ways to make a difference. One weekend, as we gathered around the dining table for a family dinner, Emily shared exciting news about her university journey. "Guess what?" she said, her eyes sparkling. "I've been accepted into a prestigious research program. It's a huge opportunity, and I couldn't have done it without your support." Laura reached across the table, squeezing Emily's hand. "We're so proud of you, honey. You've worked incredibly hard." Jack chimed in, his voice brimming with excitement. "And my environmental project is getting national recognition. I'm going to speak at a conference next month." "That's fantastic, Jack," I exclaimed, feeling a rush of pride. "Your hard work is paying off." The dinner was filled with laughter and celebration, a moment of reflection on how far we had come. It was a reminder of the power of perseverance and the strength of our family bonds. As we celebrated our achievements, we faced new challenges that tested our resilience. Jason was presented with a critical decision at work that had the potential to alter his career path dramatically. The stakes were high, and the pressure was intense. Late one night, Laura and I sat together, discussing the implications of the decision. "I don't know what to do," Jason admitted, his voice tinged with frustration. "It could mean a huge career shift, but it might also jeopardize everything we've worked for." Laura looked at him thoughtfully. "You've always been great at weighing your options. Take your time and consider what's best for you and our family." "I know," Jason said, running a hand through his hair. "I just don't want to make a decision that I'll regret later." As Jason grappled with the decision, Emily faced her own challenges in her first year at university. The pressures of academic life and the demands of adjusting to a new environment weighed heavily on her. She often called home, sharing her frustrations and seeking advice. One evening, during one of her calls, she said, "I'm feeling so overwhelmed, Mom. I thought I could handle it all, but it's harder than I expected." Laura listened intently. "It's okay to feel this way, Emily. You're navigating a new phase of your life, and it takes time to adjust. Remember, we're here for you, no matter what." Emily's voice softened. "Thank you. It helps to know that I'm not alone." Jack also faced his share of obstacles. He encountered opposition while advocating for environmental causes, and standing up for what he believed in was not always easy. One evening, after a particularly challenging day, he confided in us. "I had a tough time today," Jack said, his voice tinged with frustration. "Some people don't understand why the environment matters, and it's hard to convince them." Laura put a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Change is never easy, Jack, but you're making a difference, and your voice matters. Keep pushing forward." As the family navigated these hurdles, we drew strength from each other. The challenges we faced only served to deepen our connection and fortify our resolve. In the midst of these trials, we reflected on the legacy we were building. The family's journey had been marked by moments of triumph and tribulation, and through it all, we had grown closer. We celebrated our successes and faced our struggles with resilience, knowing that each step forward was a testament to our shared commitment. One evening, as we gathered in the living room, we discussed our future aspirations. Looking ahead, what do we want to accomplish? I asked, my voice filled with anticipation. Laura smiled thoughtfully. "I've been thinking about starting my own business. It's a dream I've had for a while, and I'm ready to take that leap." Emily, her eyes shining with determination, said, "I'm excited about my research program and exploring new opportunities." Jack nodded in agreement. "And I'm going to continue advocating for environmental causes and finding ways to make a positive impact." As we shared our dreams and aspirations, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. Our journey had been marked by growth, challenges, and triumphs, and as a family, we had emerged stronger and more united. We were ready to embrace the future with hope and excitement, knowing that whatever came next, we would face it together.